everyone, welcome to another episode of Key Gripe, the show for short, sweet reviews of new release movies, plus the one thing that annoyed me the most. And today I'm going to be talking about the new film Kubo and the Two Strings. This is a fantastical story set in ancient Japan about a young boy named Kubo who sets off on an adventure to find his father's lost armor with the help of his companions, Monkey and Beetle. But danger is on his tail as his grandfather wants to find him before he can find all the pieces of the armor. The film is animated and stars the voice acting of Art Parkinson of Game of Thrones fame, Charlize Theron, Matthew McConaughey, Ralph Fiennes, George Takei, Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa, Rooney Mara, and Brenda Vaccaro. The film is directed by Travis Knight and produced by Leica Studios, who are known for movies like Coraline and Paranorman. Unquestionably, this movie is incredible. Every aspect of this movie is absolutely fantastic. The story is well constructed and meaningful in a lot of ways. The characters are engaging. You even get some decent voice work from Charlize Theron and Matthew McConaughey, two of whom do not usually do voice acting. The music is powerful and touching, and most of all, the animation in this film is mind-blowing. Stop motion has definitely come a long way since the early Rankin Bass days. The fluidity of the animation in this movie is flawless, which for stop motion is something we really haven't seen on this scale before. The beauty of the animation is especially highlighted in many of the action scenes. One of my favorite scenes that really highlights the beauty of this animation is there's a battle on a boat between Monkey and one of the witches who's pursuing them. The story itself is very strong, especially as a heroic narrative. So much of it is told visually, though there's plenty of exposition throughout, so you do know what's going on as the story unfolds, but a lot of it's also told in the visual, in the expressions of the characters, in how the story is told from a visual standpoint. And as I said, the story does unfold, but you never feel like the revelations come too late. Each revelation comes at a meaningful moment when it should come in the story. This was a hard movie to find a key gripe with, but I do have one key gripe really with this movie, and that is some of the dialogue in the film is a little too colloquial or anachronistic for this time period and for the subject matter of this film. Particularly one scene that stands out is they're on their journey and they basically start playing I Spy, which is a game that I'm not sure is really traditionally Japanese or even ancient Japanese, but it certainly just didn't feel like it fit. It was a humorful aside, but it didn't really fit the tone of the story. McConaughey's character is pretty much the worst offender when it comes to this sort of colloquial dialogue in the film, but Charlize Theron also has a few moments where it's also like, that's a little bit iffy to be in a movie like this, set in this time period, set with this sort of tone. And the reason I have a problem with that is it does detract from the tone of the movie. Now I get it, this is a family film, so you do have to have levity throughout, but there are times where I feel like it switches to this very casual sense and it doesn't really fit that moment. It might be just a humorous little moment, but it doesn't really fit with the overall tone of the story. One of the great things about this film, about Kubo and the Two Strings, is that it is absolutely proof that original stories can be told and they can be told well. This is not based on pre-existing material. It's inspired certainly by stories, particularly Japanese stories. It's also very much the heroic narrative, so the basic structure of the heroic narrative is told here, but the movie itself is an original story. And there was a significant risk. You can tell that the studio, the Focus Features, they took a risk on releasing this movie, and it was significant, but I believe it was absolutely a justifiable one. The film took 5 years to create, so obviously there's a lot of care and love that went into this movie, and you can see that in every single frame of this film. Leica Studios could easily challenge Pixar as an animation powerhouse if they continue making movies as deep and endearing as Kubo. This is what Pixar is known for. They're known for beautiful films with amazing stories, and this is exactly what Kubo is, and Leica has done this before with movies like Coraline, with movies like Paranorman. They certainly have the ability to challenge Pixar, and this, I think, is certainly their masterpiece to this point, where you could say Pixar is not necessarily the dominant animation studio out there. Leica could very easily jump ahead of them. The only risk is that, of course, if every movie they make takes 5 years to make, they're not going to be putting them out nearly as quickly as Pixar. But at the same time, this movie is phenomenal. It is mind-blowing. And this is coming in a year where to date, the best movie I've seen is another animated film in Zootopia. Even by sticking to a basic formula, they created something that was unique and mesmerizing, and I absolutely adore this movie. I was almost in tears 2 minutes into the movie because it opens with such a powerful, moving scene. And then, of course, you get to the ending, which I'm not going to spoil, but the ending, once Kubo sort of realizes his purpose and realizes his place, it is just this fantastic moment. It is so beautiful, so heartwarming, and the ending of this movie is phenomenal. I was impressed by what they did at the end of this movie and their willingness to take a family film to the level that they did. They certainly did it well. It paid off. This is an absolutely gorgeous film in every respect of the word. Overall, this is one of the most beautiful animated films I've ever seen visually, and the story matches its visual strength. It's certainly one of the best films I've seen this year, not just animated, but across the board. This is one of the best films I have seen, with a cohesive story, beautiful visual storytelling, not to mention the animation, which again, I said, is absolutely mind-blowing. I'm going to give this film a 9 out of 10. It is a fantastic film. I highly recommend it to anybody who's interested in seeing this film. It hasn't made too much money yet, but I have a feeling that word of mouth is going to get around, because the more people see this, the more they're going to see this movie for what it is, which is just an absolutely beautiful, heartwarming, just adventurous story in so many ways, and one of the best movies I've seen this year. If you've seen Kubo, let me know what you think in the comments below. If I spoiled anything, hopefully I didn't spoil too much, but you should definitely go see it. That way you can spoil it for other people. So that's all for this episode of Key Gripe, so thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to keep up on all of my YouTube videos by clicking subscribe, and if you're already a subscriber, thank you, and you rock. Also visit my homepage at dkessner.com, where you can find out about all my various other projects, including my written works. How about that? You can also find me at my social media handles, so drop in and say hi. And again, thank you so much for all your support. Love you.